There's a rule in the Marquise's mansion. If a man wants to marry his official wife, he has to stand blindfolded in the ancestral hall and shoot a bow. He has to hit an apple 100 steps away. If you miss, you can only try again next year. But the young Marquis, who could shoot a willow branch at 100 steps at 12, had missed 3 years in a row. The first year he said his hand shook. I told him there was always next year. The second year he blamed the wind. I told him not to give up. The third year I couldn't take it anymore. I snuck over to the Marquis of Northtown's ancestral hall. I wanted to watch him practice, but I accidentally overheard Lu Yu's talking to his friend. You missed again this year, Yuza. Nice fake hand injury, by the way. Lu Yuzi spoke lazily. What else was I supposed to do? If I hit it, I'd have to marry Zixi. Don't you want to marry her? Of course I do. Lu Yuz paused. But what about Momo? Outside the window. My fingers dug into the wood of the window frame. Lu Yuz spoke in a low voice. My heart isn't made of stone. I promised Zixi I'd only love her forever. But I can't bear to let Momo go either. What about Miss Zhou then? She's been waiting for you for years. If you don't ask for her hand soon, she might say yes to someone else and it'll be too late. No way. Lu Yuz sounded sure. Zixi loves me so much. She'll never marry anyone else. I'm gonna drag this out a little longer. Wait till she's a bit older. And not so stubborn. Then she'll agree to let Momo live with us as my wife too. Then I can have both of them. The two of them burst out laughing. I felt ice cold all over. I stumbled out of the ancestral hall in a daze. All I remember on the way back was that it suddenly started raining. I didn't bring an umbrella. Rain mixed with tears ran down my face. The day after I got home, word spread that Su Yimo was betrothed to the biggest playboy in the capital. Lu Yuz couldn't hold back anymore and crashed the wedding. That night they got married and spent their wedding night together. The whole capital was waiting to laugh at me and the Zhou family. But the next day, the noble heir climbed over my wall. He looked at me casually. You pay for what your husband did. Lu Yuz is still my fiancé. I want you to make it up to me. Be my noble heir's wife. Is that too much to ask? I nodded. Not at all, I'll marry you. He hadn't expected me to actually agree to such a crazy thing. Qi Xiao stood there with his mouth open, stunned. He stammered, You said it. I'll come marry you in 3 days, don't you dare back out. He said it like he was scared I'd change my mind. He jumped off the wall in a hurry. He even tripped on his way out. Nearly fell flat on his face. I watched and laughed. He wasn't nearly as terrible as people said he was. He was actually kinda cute. Not long after Qi Xiao left, Lu Yuzi showed up too. My face immediately turned cold. Master Lu just got married, huh? Why aren't you at home spending time with your wife? What are you doing here? Lu Yuzi's face stiffened. He forced a sweet smile. Jishi, I didn't want this to happen, but Momo's heart is too soft. I couldn't just stand by and watch her marry that old fat guy. Her whole life would have been ruined. So you could just stand by and watch me and the entire Zhou family become everyone's laughingstock? The second you crashed that wedding, whatever we had was over. Please leave, Master Lu. Our engagement is off. Lu Yuze frowned. He tried to reach for me. Zixi, stop being silly. Even if I'm married to her, it won't change what we have. Momo's so kind. She won't make things hard for you if you move in. You'll just be a concubine for a little while. Once you have a kid, I'll promote you to equal wife. You and Momo will both be my wives. I won't favor either of you. Asking the eldest daughter of the Zhou family to be her concubine? I can't believe he even said that. Even if I wanted to, my ancestors would never allow it. I stepped back. I stared at him coldly. Zhou Lingzhi will never be a concubine. When I refused, Lu Yuz got annoyed. It's just a title, and even as a concubine, I won't let anyone look down on you. Why do you have to make this hard for me? I'm making this hard for you? I almost laughed out loud. Who was the one who crashed a wedding right before ours? Who married her right after? Who turned me and my whole family into a joke for everyone? And he has the nerve to say I'm making things hard? I looked at him sarcastically. I'll say it again. Who women never become concubines? I kept turning him down, embarrassing him. Lu Yuze lost his temper. His face darkened. Zhou Lingzhi, you're being ridiculous. Everyone knows you've been crazy about me since we were kids. I've had you wrapped around my finger this whole time. Who else would marry you without me? With that, he stormed off in a huff. I was shaking with anger. A deep sadness washed over me. I knew the Lu Yuz who once cared only about me, who would never let me get hurt, was gone forever. The man he is now is only Su Yimo's husband. I should have let go the second he chose her over me, when he trampled all over my heart. But I just couldn't. I refused to accept it. Over a decade of friendship between us, and it couldn't compare to the 6 months he'd known her. Turns out I was wrong. Qi Xiao didn't give me time to change my mind. The next day, the Qi family came to propose. They brought 108 carts of betrothal gifts. They filled my entire room. My parents didn't think highly of Qi Xiao. They begged me to think it over. But my mind was made up. If I can't have love, I'll take power. Qi Xiao may have a bad reputation, but he's the future heir of the Marquis mansion. If the Su family's legitimate daughter hadn't refused to marry him, this marriage never would have gone to Su Yimo. I was about to have the gifts moved to the storage room when Lu Yuz walked in with Su Yimo. When they saw everything, they jumped to the wrong conclusion. Lu Yuz raised his chin, looking like he'd known it all along. A greedy look flashed across Su Yimo's eyes. Sister, are all these your dowry? Su Yimo was the illegitimate daughter of the Su family, born after the master slept with a maid. She'd never been treated well in the Su household. On her wedding day, Madame Su even knocked over her dowry in front of everyone. I frowned. I denied it, but Lu Yuze scoffed. Cut the act. You said you wouldn't marry yesterday, and now you've got your dowry already. Right, sister? Why pretend? We're family now. Brother Yuze, didn't you bring a gift for sister? Hurry and give it to her! Suyimo tugged at his arm eagerly. A flash of green crossed my vision. I stared at her, frozen for a long moment. The Lu family has an heirloom jade bracelet. It's meant for their future daughter-in-law. Once I found out, I dropped hints to Lu Yu so many times. He always dodged the question and refused to give it to me. I never thought I'd see it on Suyumo's wrist. Suyumo noticed me staring and tugged her sleeve up on purpose. Thanks to her little show, Lu Yu scowled and pulled a wooden hairpin out of his robe, tossing it at me. He acted like he'd just gifted me something priceless. Here, this is for you. I stared at the cheap, chipped hairpin and let out a mocking laugh. He's so generous to Suyumo, but cheap as hell with me. I held the hairpin back out. No thanks, keep this nice thing for your Miss Su. Lu Yu's face turned ugly in an instant. Furious, he snatched the pin and threw it out the window. If you don't want it, it's gone. Suyumo stamped her foot in a cute fake tone. Sister, this is something Brother Yu's and I picked just for you. It's our way of showing we care. Oh, and sister, you'll be joining the family soon. I sewed this wedding dress for you myself. Please accept it. She took the pink wedding dress from her maid and held it out to me. I laughed out loud in anger. Pink is what concubines wear. I looked at smug Suyumo and finally got why they showed up today. They wanted to put me in my place. They didn't even bother asking if I'd let them. Right in front of Lu Yuzi, I said firmly, I told you already. Our engagement is off. If you two are done here, please leave. Clearly they didn't take me seriously. Suyumo grabbed my arm and tried to pull me inside. Sister, don't be mad. Who knows if this dress fits? Why don't you try it on? I shoved her away, annoyed. Get off me, don't touch me. I barely touched her. I didn't even use any real force. But Suyumo dramatically fell backward, still holding the dress, and plopped onto the floor. Tears welled up in her eyes right away. Sister, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to try the dress. I didn't mean anything by it. Lu Yu saw this and shoved me hard in a rage. Zhou Lingzhi, Momo stayed up 2 nights straight making that dress. This is how you treat her kindness? A jealous, petty woman like you? You deserve to be alone forever! With that, he picked up Suyumo and stormed out without looking back. Suyumo glanced back and smirked at me triumphantly. The scene reminded me of the first time we met. Back then, she was just a lowly concubine's daughter from the Su family. At a banquet, her legitimate sister treated her like a servant. She spilled wine on her sister and got slapped. Then she was forced to kneel in public. Lu Yu's hated seeing people bully the weak, so he stepped in to help. Later, he worried she'd be targeted again. Lu Yu's always looked out for her. He gave her the best of everything first. I was jealous over it so many times. He'd just laugh and say, I only help Momo because I feel bad for her. At first I believed him. I thought he only cared out of sympathy. Then one day, Suyumo was forced to marry Chi Xiao. Lu Yuze crashed the wedding. Scared of waiting, he married her that same day. They'd already slept together. That's when I realized. Suyumo had already taken my place in his heart. I was naive to think he was just being nice. He'd only been extra kind to her. The day before my own wedding was the annual Lantern Festival, my favorite day of the year. Every year before, Lu Yuze would release lanterns with me. This was the first time I went alone. But when I got to the street, it was completely empty. All the vendors were gone. I was confused. Then I heard 2 women gossiping. Master Lu is so rich. I heard he bought every lantern on the street to make his wife happy. Can you believe it? I'd be so touched if I were her. That's nothing. He even offended a prince just for her. And he made the Zhou daughter become his concubine. A guy like that? I'd wait 3 years for him. I'd even shorten my life for it. I smirked bitterly and turned to leave. A familiar voice called from behind. Sister! I turned around without thinking. Lu Yuze and Suyumo were standing nearby. He ran over to me holding a lantern. Sister, did you come to release lanterns too? Lu Yu's was still mad about the fight the day before. He huffed at me coldly. Suyumo held out her lantern to show off. Miss, brother bought every lantern on the street for me. She smiled and held one out. You can have this one if you want. No thanks. I stepped back, scared she'd frame me again. Besides, I don't do used things. Not people, not stuff. Lu Yu's face dropped instantly. His voice turned sarcastic. Miss Zhou is too good for my gifts. Ignore her, Momo. Let's go. He dragged Suyumo to the river and left in a huff. A man dressed as a butler walked over. Miss Zhou, His Highness asked me to give this to you. I stared at the lantern in shock. It was shaped like a stream with a bold, free-handed character, she, written on the bottom. It was the prettiest lantern I'd ever seen. I couldn't bear to set it afloat, so I took it home. The next morning, my maid woke me up early to do my hair and help me into my wedding dress. The time was near. Finally, it felt real. I was actually getting married. Not to Lu Yu's, the childhood sweetheart I'd waited for years, but to Qi Xiao, the most reckless prince in Shengjing. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. I took a deep breath. I'd made my choice. No matter what happened later, I'd stick with it. Once I was dressed, the wedding procession arrived. I didn't expect to see Lu Yu's instead of Qi Xiao. I stared at the tiny pink palanquin and the small group of less than 20 men, shocked. I thought I'd made myself perfectly clear. I'd already sent back all the Lu family's betrothal gifts. What was he doing here? Before I could say anything, Lu Yuzi saw me in full wedding attire and snapped. Zhou Lingzhi, who told you to dress like this? I'm here to marry you. Take that crown off. His unfair yelling made my blood boil. Lu Yu's, I've told you 100 times. Our engagement is canceled. I'm not marrying you today. My husband will be here soon. Now take your people and leave. Lu Yu's scoffed in disbelief. Cut the act. I'm leaving if you keep this up. Momo will be my official wife. I promised I'd make you a secondary wife if you gave me a child. Are you really that desperate to move up? I rolled my eyes. This was all in his head. I never agreed to any of this. I was about to speak when music started behind me. Lu Yu's looked back and frowned. Is someone else from the Zhou family getting married today? Before he finished, Qi Xiao rode up to me on his horse, leading the way. He saw Lu Yu's in his little procession and raised an eyebrow. Well, well. Trying to steal my princess consort again, Master Lu? Lu Yu stared at him in surprise, too stunned to think straight. Then something clicked and he eyed Qi Xiao warily. I was going to ask you what you're doing here with all these men. Marrying my wife, what else? Lu Yuze froze. A terrible feeling washed over him. His voice shook as he asked. When you said princess consort, you mean her? Xiao smirked and was about to answer, but I spoke first. Lu Yu's, this is my husband. He's the one I'm marrying today. That's impossible! Lu Yu's paled and practically shouted. We were already engaged. How could you marry him? I laughed coldly. He still remembered our engagement. But who broke it first to marry someone else? He met my gaze and finally understood. Panic flashed in his eyes. Terror of losing me crashed over him. He pointed at Xiao. Shichi, I know you're mad I married Momo. But don't be so reckless. Do you even know who he is? Everyone in Shengjing knows. Xiao is a spoiled playboy who hangs around brothels and does nothing all day. How can he give you a stable life? You're ruining yourself. Xixi, come back with me, please, I'm begging you. Xiao's expression darkened. He rubbed the handle of his whip, his aura turning icy. But he held back and looked at me, letting me decide what to do. I was sick of his interference. Any soft feelings I had left were destroyed by everything he'd done. I stepped forward and stood in front of Xiao, staring coldly at Lu Yu's. Lu Yu's, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not marrying him on a whim. This is a choice I've thought through carefully. From now on, we go our separate ways. Xiao smiled at my words and put his arm around my waist, pulling me close. He sneered at Lu Yu's. Master Lu. Did you hear that? My Sixi said we're done. Don't embarrass yourself any longer. Just then, the matchmaker hurried over for the auspicious time, waving her red silk scarf. Your Highness, Princess Consort. The time is right. It's time to board the palanquin. I walked past Lu Yu's and reached for the matchmaker's hand to get in. Lu Yu's lunged forward and grabbed my wrist so tight his knuckles turned white. It hurt badly. Sixi, come with me. I won't let you marry him. You're only marrying me. Xiao narrowed his eyes and a cold chill filled the air. He gripped his whip tightly, pointing the tip right at Lu Yu's face. Planning to crash another wedding, Master Lu? You stole my fiancé last time. Do you really think I'm that easy to push around? Lu Yu's eyes were red. He looked completely insane. He didn't care about the crowd or his family's reputation. So what if I am? I'll do anything to get Xixi back. Xiao dropped his playful act and let out a cold laugh. He flicked his wrist and the whip sliced through the air, narrowly missing Lu Yu's ear. A few strands of his hair fell to the ground. He flinched and let go of me. Then you can ask my whip first, and ask the 100 guards behind me. If they'll let you. Tension exploded. The air was thick with danger. Guests and neighbors crowded around, whispering, but no one dared to step in. Lu Yuze had already angered Xiao badly over Suyumo. The Lu family steward broke out in a cold sweat. He rushed out of the crowd, all color drained from his face. He froze stiff, not knowing what to do. Xiao was already tired of waiting. He signaled to his guards. 2 large guards stepped forward and pinned Lu Yu's firmly between them. He struggled wildly but couldn't move an inch. The matchmaker lifted the curtain. I took her hand and stepped into the palanquin. The moment the curtain fell, I heard Lu Yu screaming hysterically, over and over, heart-wrenching and desperate. Don't go, Sixi, come back! Zhou Lingzhi, you can't marry him! I never looked back. The second he chose to crash our engagement and marry Suyumo, everything between us was over. All those years of feelings, they were all for nothing. The palanquin swayed as musicians played all the way. This is the young lord's estate of the Zhenguo Duke's manor. Lu Yu's has no business causing a scene here. The guests had already been waiting for a long time. With family and friends as our witnesses, Xiao and I bowed to heaven and earth. We bowed to our elders, then finally bowed to each other as husband and wife. And just like that, with cheers all around, I became the official young lady of the manor. We entered the bridal chamber. Red candles burned bright, bathing the whole room in a warm crimson glow. I looked at Xiao standing before me, feeling a wave of guilt wash over me. I said softly, I'm sorry about what happened today. I had no idea he'd make such a scene. I ruined the mood for you. Xiao stepped closer, gently brushing the loose strands of hair from my temple and cut me off. His voice was soft. It's fine. At the end of the day, I'm the one who married you. A little hiccup like that, it's nothing. Hearing that, I gave him a grateful look and was about to say something else. But the moment I looked up, Xiao suddenly leaned down and planted a kiss right on my lips. His lips were warm, carrying a faint trace of wine. He pulled back with this ridiculously satisfied smile on his face and said, I won't ever make you regret choosing me, not in this lifetime. My face went completely red, from my cheeks all the way to my ears. My heart started racing out of nowhere, thumping like a little rabbit going crazy in my chest. Xiao didn't even give me a second to process. He just scooped me up into his arms and carried me toward the bed draped in deep red silk. The candles flickered softly. It was a tender night. Lost in a haze, all I felt was his gentleness and sincerity. Nothing like the wild, reckless playboy everyone always talked about. The next morning, I was yanked awake by the ache all over my body. I pushed myself up, one hand on my back, internally cursing up a storm. Wasn't Xiao supposed to be a regular at the pleasure houses? Some kind of veteran? So why was he going at it like some rookie who just discovered girls and had zero chill? Xiao was already gone. The only thing left was warm tea and snacks neatly set out on the table. I was just about to get up and go find him when 2 maids outside started chatting in hushed voices. Their words drifted in crystal clear. Did you hear? Young Master Lu knelt outside our young lord's gate all night yesterday. Said he wouldn't get up until the young lady forgave him. In the dead of winter. Knelt the entire night. His knees were rubbed raw. Right? And then his wife Su Yumo showed up just now. Saw him still kneeling there and wouldn't budge. They got into it on the spot, pushing,